The most annoying overused term in the world of sports today, the word untouchable. Let's see what that even means. It means the player is so valuable to their team, they're highly unlikely to be traded, even for a very attractive offer, seen as a critical part of team success and future plans, too important to let go under almost any circumstances. But after what happened to Luka Doncic a few weeks back, nobody will ever be fully untouchable again. Especially when a top 3 player all of last season considered replaceable, everybody in the NBA could be traded. Before we dive into the biggest flops of overhyped fake untouchable players, let's acknowledge the wisdom of the late great Jerry West. Back in 2014, Golden State had the opportunity to trade a young Klay Thompson, who hasn't been an all-star yet, for established superstar Kevin Love, coming off averaging 26 and 13, a perennial top 10 player. The move seemed like a no-brainer, but Mr. West helped shut it down, believing Klay would be the missing piece to a future dynasty, and proving correct. Thompson not only played a crucial role on 4 championship teams, but became a top 2 shooting guard in the league for years. Many now rank Klay higher all-time than Kevin Love himself. But unfortunately for today's Warriors and the rest of the NBA, nobody has Jerry West level expertise in terms of evaluating player talent. So what happens when teams refuse to trade a player deemed untouchable, only for that young so-called fake star to completely fall off? Let's go through some of the worst cases of teams getting too attached to a guy who weren't special at all.
Starting with Talen Horton-Tucker, now known as Talentless Horton-Tucker, from Lakers future star to just another guy.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy they just got? Who is this guy they just got off the street? Horton-Tucker. Horton, here's a who. No, don't make that. Okay. All right, I take it back.
Picked 46 in the 2019 draft out of Iowa State, the one-and-done 18-year-old became a deep bench guy, instantly won a title, put up 5.7 points, 1.3 steals, looked impressive in garbage time with his drive and finish to the basket, hyped as LA's next great developmental success, made significant noise preseason heading into year 2, had all the youth in the world, scored 19 points on the Clippers, then dropped 33, showing a variety of moves. Given the Lakers lost some perimeter defense with Rondo, Danny Green, and Avery Bradley, THT was deemed the next man up. His size, length, and physical gifts at a stocky 6'4", 7'1" wingspan, too attractive to get rid of. Averaged 9 points year 2 in 20 minutes, even had all-time great teammate LeBron James praising him on Twitter, same with Jared Dudley. But the sad reality is, THT hasn't improved since, became way too overhyped playing for the most popular team in the country. After the conclusion of the 2021 season, LA decided to let Alex Caruso walk in free agency, given Horton-Tucker still 20 years old, anticipated to be much better than AC, had better raw athleticism, a higher offensive ceiling. Despite Caruso, the much better defender, a disastrous move by the Lakers, the biggest absolute travesty of them all, Pelinka refused to trade his beloved young second rounder in exchange for future Hall of Famer Kyle Lowry, who later played a massive role for 2023's Miami's finals team. THT paid 3 years $31 million after LA missed the playoffs entirely, ended up getting traded with Stanley Johnson to Utah for Patrick Beverley. Bev later traded for the useless Mo Bamba, who was later waived. Horton-Tucker put up empty stats, 10 points a game guy in Salt Lake. Caruso went on to make multiple defensive teams with the Bulls, THT surviving all those early trade rumors, and Pelinka refusing to let him go earlier, ultimately stalled the Lakers in truly contending. Being a victim of just playing for the Lakers, his only go-to move, crafty right-handed finish, but once teams figured out he can't go left or shoot, Horton-Tucker just a liability out there, almost out the league entirely before signing an Exhibit 10 with the Bulls. Many who haven't seen him played in years can't believe the fatness he put up, slowly getting bald, the oldest looking 24-year-old in the league, looking like he can challenge Zion on who puts up more pounds. Some might confuse him for PJ Tucker. Doesn't have high IQ, still bad on defense, chucks up bad shots. It's an absolute disgrace of a travesty. Bleacher Report ranked Horton-Tucker higher than SGA for the under 24 rankings back in 2021. The perfect example of a victim being overhyped by a big market. THT, nothing more than just a role player, averaging now less than 6 points on the season, could be out the NBA entirely before he turns 25, overseas on the horizon. Terance Mann from Clippers unsung hero hasn't had a memorable moment outside his 39-point Game 6 semis mirage. The Clippers almost didn't trade for Harden, refusing to give up their beloved role player, and now it's the Beard himself keeping that franchise afloat in playoff contention. Mann just warming up the bench seats for mid-Atlanta. For a player coming off averaging 11 and 5, nothing special as a second round pick, became so untouchable, traded a year later for Bogey Bogdanovic in 3 seconds. The now 28-year-old likely reached his peak, was a 23-year-old rookie coming in and 25 years old when helping his team get to the conference finals. His lifetime achievement in the association, from untouchable to being teammates with Harden to not touching the ball. Averaged 9.5 rebounds the Dallas series. Mann overall a good attitude, smiles a lot on the bench, but new additions Derrick Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn can already do things Mann can do. His role became a bit redundant after giving him 3 years $47 million, way too tentative to shoot open threes, a huge problem when his Clippers struggling to make trades aside from his defense doesn't add much else. At a certain point, Trae Young probably the next star to seek out of a mid-franchise, Mann getting paid till 2028. In about a year, many won't remember what team he's even on. Brandin Podziemski, the 19th pick of the 2023 draft, made all-rookie first team, averaged 9, 6, and 4, high motor type player, from beloved and a gem for the future to constant backlash after being labeled untouchable in trade talks, given the franchise didn't even get out the play-in. Curry and Draymond now aging, team desperately needed another star to pair up with Steph. Owner Joe Lacob reportedly told Jazz owner he wouldn't trade Poz for star Lowry Markkanen, even if he was available. Being super protective of his rookie, their offseason priority, making sure they kept him. How's Golden State doing now? Franchise wanting him to take 8 to 10 threes a game when that's not even who he is. Given Steve Kerr a bad track record developing young players, the now 21-year-old having a sophomore slump made the franchise look silly. Although he's played much better as of late, still shooting 32% from 3, didn't make quite an offensive leap. In Klay Thompson's absence, Golden State forcing him to a role he's not comfortable at. Despite his hustle, Poz below average NBA athleticism, turns down too many open J's, plays way too much. Fans sometimes mistake him for Nico Mannion. His overperformance as a rookie led to unreal high expectations, had his work cut out for him. His ceiling, nothing more than a glorified glute guy. Golden State way too infatuated with anybody that overachieves with them. Matisse Thybulle, where's he at now? What happened to Defensive Player of the Year status? I guarantee Charles Barkley don't know what team he's on. Cut from the Australian Olympic team, hasn't played a game this season with ankle injury. Just like Simmons in Brooklyn, Matisse the poster child from 2 weeks away from being 2 weeks away back to action. Next thing you know, season over. Not that he helps the team anyway. The former 20th pick from the 2019 draft, always known for his defense, made 2 defensive second teams his second and third season, but his problem on offense. Perhaps the second worst shooter in the whole league, behind only his former teammate Ben Simmons. Never averaged above 6 points in the season. The way how many were talking about Thybulle, similar to Jaden McDaniel talks last season, the hype between Matisse was absolutely real, but being one of the worst offensive players in the game, doesn't even have confidence, non-shooting offensive skills like Bruce Brown with the floaters. Thybulle just incapable of holding the ball and finishing, left wide open, all playoffs, couldn't make teams pay, and often fouls three-point shooters in close game. The loss of Philly's Ben Simmons made many realize Matisse had the luxury to cheat off his man and play the alleyways. His D later exposed as overrated, just an athletically gifted body with good defensive instincts, but one of the worst offensive players the NBA has ever seen. Patrick Williams. The Bulls gave him 5 years $90 million to stay absolutely mid. 90% safe to call him a bust as a former number 4 pick. Team way too prideful on their young guys, obsessed with the Kawhi Leonard comparisons. For a guy that wasn't even deemed in the lottery, has below average motor, stuck on a losing culture, already got his bag, just satisfied, making all those millions. The longer he stays with the franchise, more lazy he'll get. Also injury prone, the type of player to simply take his time healing from injury longer than expected. It's the Bulls' fault for giving him all that money when there's no difference letting him walk away for nothing. A dumb way to fill up their cap space. Williams has no handles, can't create his own shots, bad finisher, too many embarrassingly missed dunks. It's truly an absolute travesty. He's paid more than teammate Kobe White, who's 100 times better. Williams plays like he's already an established 33-year-old 3-and-D, low-energy guy, the perfect example of why the mentality part of scouting reports more important in factoring how a guy can turn out. Bad franchises simply cannot afford to bet on lazy players. The Bulls now willing to trade him? A little too late. Why would any of the 29 teams want such a garbage contract? The Bulls as an organization just as bad as the Wizards at this point. Keegan Murray, the 4th pick of the 2022 draft, became a promising 22-year-old rookie as an established deadly 3-and-D starting small forward at 6'8", averaged over a dozen points on 41% shooting from deep, even making the most trades for any rookie in league history. Went on to experience a taste of the playoffs with the stars of De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, and Murray labeled a third option for contending future hopes. Sacramento at the height of their powers, everything started to fall apart. After year 2, team made no changes. Despite failing to make the playoffs, Murray simply just a 3-and-D role player. Franchise added more responsibilities. The main reason for his struggles shooting the ball this season, became uncomfortable doing too much. Team even refused to trade Murray. In discussions with Larry Marketing last offseason, despite being limited, doesn't have the handles, even with slightly improved defense. At least he's much better than most guys on this list, will likely get a second contract, but the Untouchable talks a year ago, delusional to say the least. Frank Ntilikina, no longer in the NBA, the former 8th pick 2017 draft, being the mystery man of the draft, the unpopular choice, ticking him above Dennis Smith Jr. and Donovan Mitchell. The greatness of Jalen Brunson made many Knicks fans forget about Ntilikina's name for years. Being just 18 years old, 6'5" with a 7-foot wingspan, whenever he reached double-digit scoring, Knicks fans couldn't contain their excitement. Many viewed Frank as the building block alongside Kristaps Porzingis. Dealing with several coaching changes, Frank never got over the fear of shooting the ball, super inefficient. His failure to develop a consistent offensive game led to his downfall, no development. Defense also took a hit when given the chance to check in late games, fouls too much. Being in New York for 4 seasons, his confidence only went downhill. The Mavericks gave him another chance, struggled to no avail, played last season with Charlotte, now in Serbia. Brandon Ingram of the Toronto Raptors. Remember when the Pels refused to trade him for Kevin Durant 2.5 years ago? How'd that work out? Giving away for Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk, good role players on contenders, but useless guys on bad teams, an absolute travesty of a return. Retaining BI resulted in 0 playoff wins since, not getting Durant, super injury prone. Ingram's obviously not a nobody, but just another one of those good players who's unreliable, going through the motions. There's at least 40 players you'd rather have on your team above BI. No longer viewed as young with high upside, hasn't improved since 2020, got locked up by OKC last postseason, not good enough as a first option to carry a good team. His skill sets, not what most team wants anyway. Below average outside shooter, subpar defense, needs the ball in his hands to be effective. Easy to forget, the league has moved past him, extended to 3 years 120 before even playing a single game for Toronto. Will he even be in a Raptors uniform, take the court one time before the end of this regular season? The 27-year-old might already be damaged goods.
Jonathan Kuminga, will he be next? Golden State at risk repeating their past mistakes with Brandin Podziemski. Who's still young, but is he truly untouchable? Refusing to trade him? If he don't get any better, they might regret getting rid of him when his value's super high. The funniest cases of untouchable guys, players who stay forever. They just refuse to go away. Dwight Powell of the Dallas Mavericks. Every offseason, Mavs fans wonder why the hell he's still on the roster. What type of dirt does he have on the organization? That's the only logical explanation. Miles Turner, forever in the trade market, but somehow still a pacer. At this point, the franchise should just retire his jersey number for his longevity, beating all-time trade rumors. Looking ahead, future untouchables, who might follow similar paths. Right now, Houston believes in Ahmed Thompson and the hype around Reed Shepherd, but will they actually turn into franchise players or become the next guy on this list in 5 years? Who's the next untouchable, unproven youngster that will fade out to becoming nobodies? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you real soon. Love y'all.